Wasso, 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 wasso. Hey, what's going on, you guys? Hi, hello. It's me, Algis, aka Avagis, aka Alval, aka, did I say that already? AKA Algis, aka Avagis, aka Alvalgus, aka Al Avagus Val. Doo, 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 doo. If you're listening on the audio, welcome back, audio gang. Welcome back to the theme song, which I got a lot of guff for missing out on the audio for the past few episodes. And let me tell you something. Let me tell you something real quick. Let me explain real quick. The reason why is because I don't fucking care. Oh, no, no, no. The reason is I was uploading the audio and the video to Spotify so that people could watch on Spotify, and I don't think anybody's watching on Spotify. So I would upload the same MP4 file. I don't think you need to know, nor do you probably care about any of this stuff. But essentially, I'm not a whiz. I'm not an editor, and I couldn't edit the theme song onto the video. It's just not happening. People who watch video podcasts never get the theme song. They don't even fucking know the joy of coming into that tinkly. Oh, and those harmonies. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. When I came up with those harmonies, boy, oh boy, was I chuffed. I was chuffed in my loins when I came up with that. Deeply chuffed on a level that I hope you people. I didn't mean anything racist by that. I swear. In a way that I hope you people may someday enjoy, is what I'm saying. Technical shit aside, as you may have noticed, if you're video guessing, and potentially if you're audio guessing, it's just me, solo, alonesies, all up in, there's my face. I'm trying to cover up my face so I'm not staring at it, Takes me out. Plus, you guys don't want to watch me watch myself. That's weird. I want to make direct eye contact with you because you're my bitch. You're my baby. You're my wonderful one true love. You're my sweet, sweet darling sugar plum huckleberry fin cutie pie. You're my number one Yoshi. You're my number one plush Yoshi. Okay. I don't know if the fuck. I don't know if the camera saw that. There it is. All right. So as you may have noticed, I'm here at home. I mean, whether you know what my home looks like or not, I'm here at my computer desk. I'm here, and I'm podcasting from home. I won't say too much, but I'm considering another rework. It's sort of growing pains of the podcast. I tend to, of course, call me selfish, but I like a more solo adventure. It's maybe it's just how I'm used to my own bedroom that I'm more I feel a little bit more at ease enough to explore the darkest the most personal recesses of my mind, and to go in all kinds of different places, and to essentially drive the bus. To drive the Alval bus is but a simple dream of mine. And I wish to I wish to drive the PodGis bus. And yeah, we will see what that looks and sounds like in the future. I got a lot of thinking to do, a lot of planning to do. It's sorry to be vague, but I'm just kind of figuring things out as I go. And this podcast game, let me tell you, the market is wide open for someone like me. No, obviously I'm kidding, because the market is fucking oversaturated. Everyone and their grandmother have 2 podcasts each. So many comedians have a solo podcast and then one with their fucking neighbor, Brian Johnson, and then another one with a handful of other comics. That's just called Kicking It. And, it's just more of the same. And this is probably more of the same, but at least it's more of the same of me, Al Val, which is what you came here for to begin with. So that is what I'm saying. That's the plan. I've just spent 75 minutes. Ah, oh, voilà, voici, oh, madame, 75 minutes. 75 minutes. That's me speaking French, because guess what? I just came back from Montreal. What a segue. What a fucking segue. Ow, I shouldn't punch my nipples like that. What a segue. I'm a segueing ass bitch. I just came back from Montreal 5 days ago. I want to say 5 minutes ago because that would at least excuse my disheveled yoga mom look that I have going on. I just dropped the kids off at swimming lessons and mama needs a Riesling. You know what I mean? All my wine moms out there, you know what I mean? I just came back from Montreal. Hey, Ava-gis, Alvalgis, Valgus. What were you doing there, you ask? I was at, the fucking JFL, Just for Laughs. Just for Laughs. The biggest comedy festival in all of Canada. Nay, the world. I did it. This is the thing. This is why I feel partially weird about saying I did JFL this year, because I did New Faces 2 years ago, and then Just for Laughs New Faces, it's always like they bring in, it's a showcase for like new hot young talent, emphasis on the young, because I don't really see them hiring a lot of older people, if you catch my drift. Oh, I need to file that down for sure, bud. PodGis. So I did New Faces 2 years ago, and then I was invited back the next year for a gala and a TV taping, which was really fucking cool. And then I got invited back again this year, but in a much different capacity. Not strictly for stand-up, but also yes, though. This is why it feels weird. So I came up to Montreal already for, it's called ZooFest / Off JFL, which is like, I guess technically like, it's maybe this is part of what contributes to the prestige of JFL, so I might be wrong here. And there might be like an actual business reason for why they've separated the two. But Off JFL / ZooFest is a festival that happens just before JFL starts. It's like an opener. It's like a comedy opener to Just for Laughs. That's a pretty good metaphor. It's like an opening act of a festival, of a comedy festival. Oh boy. And that's certainly not to take away from the quality, but it's a different level of prestige, I guess. And so I did a show called Gay AF. Love that brand. It's a Torontonian / starting to expand outwardly Canadian brand. Very, very good. And I get a lot of work from them, which I like. And so we did a ZooFest show, and I did a handful of ZooFest shows on the weekend. And then I stuck around because I was performing for Just for Laughs in Dan Gallia's interdimensional band. I played guitar, noodly noodly, and so I got an artist pass, but it just said artist. Whereas comedians who were hired specifically for tapings and stuff like that, they all got their faces and names. I'll show you Where is it? Can I? Oh, it's stuck. I have like a. Ugh, I'm not taking it down. I have like, uh, fuck. I can show you guys. I have in my room. I can show the video people. This is like my trophy case, hanging beside my whiteboard of to do things. Check it out. Where is it? Where is it? Oh, there it is. Artiste. Look at that. So, so I have this. I think it's so special. I hung a hook, and see, I'm staring at myself. Can't stare at myself. I hung a hook, and I use it now to collect all my lanyards and passes from all the festivals that I've done in my career. I think it's like my little trophy case, and it makes me so proud looking at how many there are. It really, I mean, it's just a really nice feeling to see tangibly how much I've done in my young career, you know? But my point is, what I was getting at was, so since I was part of a band and I wasn't performing individually for JFL proper, I got just a pass that said artiste, and it was French too, which, you know, I'm not French. I think they gave me the wrong pass. Everything on that pass on the back, the instructions for like what shows this gets me in and what I'm not allowed to go, what I don't get free access to is like it's all in French. So they couldn't even spare me an English version. All of these reasons are reasons why I struggled to claim this year as my own, even though I did do a JFL branded midnight surprise show. That was a show at midnight on Sunday night, which was really cool. Bumping shoulders with some heavies. Um, Hell yeah. I belong. Feeling like you belong is is a privilege, well earned, and sometimes we fight ourselves so desperately to feel like we've earned it, and God knows I continue to do so. But um on nights like those when you go shoulder to shoulder with those other acts and you do and just as well, if not more outstandingly, and I did okay. I struggled my first minute, but then I really took off after that. So if it wasn't for the first minute, I would have been set of the night. But yeah. So my point is, this year I'm allowed to claim the credit. Technically, of course I am, but there are a number of factors stopping me from really being like, yeah, man, JFL, my name was all over it. Especially because I have last year's pass hanging right there with my old headshot on it, with my face on it. Anyways, JFL, let me tell you a little bit about JFL. What? Oh, so things were going well. Friday night, off JFL Zoo Fest show. Crushed it. So fun. Closed it out. Banger of a fucking audience. Crowd was popping. It was like a former strip club with this really cool stage with I love a stage with velvet curtains in the back and a nice big wide stage with a big carpet. Or not a carpet, a rug. I love a nice rug to come out on. Single stool, mic, 180 scope around the audience, bars off to the sides. Love it. Packed house, it was super fun. Yeah, just so fucking swanky and cultured. Montreal is so cultured, you guys. I would walk around pointing at stuff and be like, "Ugh, that is so culture. Oh my god, that church is so culture. That fucking cab. Did that cab just honk at me? That is so culture." Friday night show was awesome. Saturday shows, I did 3 Saturday. I did 3 on Saturday. One was ill attended. Halfway through my set, like a handful, it was at a bar called Stogie's. Fucking Stogie. You wanna die? You wanna have a drag of a stogie? Only real men like to smoke from a stogie. It's a bar in Montreal called Stogie's. It's a cigar bar, I guess. And upstairs they have a little showroom, and there were like 7 people there, and then 5 broy dudes for their bachelor party came upstairs halfway through my set, and I made them feel really uncomfortable. JK, they thought it was fun. We got along. It was weird. And then I went Saturday, so get this bullshit. So Saturday, first show, I meet this, and I'm not going to name either of these 2 comics I'm about to tell you about. I won't name them. I will protect their identities because I've already had conversations with both of them. But the first show, I do 2 shows at the Comedy Nest. And on the first show, I'm the last act. There's this guy before me. And this is one of those old comedians who I think he had a Comedy Now special back when Comedy Now was a TV program on Canadian television. And this guy comments a lot on a lot. He's a Facebook dude. He comments a lot on a lot of my posts and pictures and says the nicest things about what an inspiration I am and about how he's cheering for. He's a real cheerleader. He's cheering for me and he's supporting me, and everything that he says is really genuinely lovely and touching, sincerely. And so I finally meet this guy. I have no idea what his comedy is like, by the way. And I meet this guy at the club, and we have a moment where he's like, "Oh my God, I can't believe I'm finally meeting you in person, and I am a big fan, and I love what you do, and I just think you are so great, and I'm so in your corner. I just wish the best for you." And I'm like, "Oh, you're a sweetheart. I love the support. I'm grateful for it. You rule. I can't wait to see what you do up there." And this guy goes up, and he does Caitlyn Jenner jokes. He literally the act before me, literally the guy who has been singing my praises all across my entire journey, goes up and does it's I'm equally as I'm more insulted as a comedian than I am as a trans woman for this bit because it's a fucking meme. It's a meme on Twitter that I've seen a million times that transphobes use to beat us over the head with. It was a joke about how Caitlyn went from Bruce to Caitlyn, and then within X amount of months of her transition, she won um Woman of the Year for whatever magazine. Let's look it up. These are details that don't matter. She won Woman of the Year. I'm sure everybody knows because it was this big cultural thing. And so the punchline is like, haha, guys are so much better than women that they can be better women than women. That's the joke. You've heard it a million times if you've spent 10 minutes on Twitter as a trans person. And so, he does that joke literally as the act before me. He finishes, and then I have to go up after that, which confounds me on a number of levels. Like, the way he kept saying explicitly in his set that he's like, I don't mean any of this stuff, I'm just saying it to be funny. Which, sometimes, yes, I will say things off the cuff just to be silly and frivolous, and I won't mean them. However, that seems like such a spineless defense for a loaded stance on a hot button loaded issue, on a very hotly disputed topic, to throw your hat in the ring with a pretty clear stance, and then to back off and be like, these are just jokes, baby. It's the just jokes defense that, I mean, we're comedians. It's our job. And this is why I struggle to wrap my head around situations like these. And this is what I told him. And in his defense, he took it very well and open and with an open mind, and he seemed somehow surprised that I would feel this way. But we had a whole conversation in front of everybody in the fucking green room that was like, you know, I'm never going to be the one to tell you what you can or can't say. I don't. This is that situation where my comedian brain and my stand with the trans people brain collide. Stand with the trans people. Like, I fucking am one. And so I can't. And so this is what I basically explained to him, where it's like, I believe you have every right to say what you do. And I take you at your word that you don't believe these things that you say and that they're just jokes. But I also can't deny how a joke like that not only makes me feel like shit and like you're undermining my identity, but also the thoughtless timing of it. To do that joke right before I go up on stage, to do that joke on the same lineup as any trans person is pretty careless. And to do that right before I come up puts me in such an awkward situation because, you know, I have to, as a professional and as a comedian and as a reader of the room, I have to address it. I have to do something to sample it, acknowledge it, and that just puts me in a sticky situation. Uncomfortable, weird. And so I explained that to him, and it looked like he seemed like he internalized it. The following show, we all did we did back-to-backs, and the following show, I appreciate just how far people go to make me feel comfortable, and honestly, it makes me feel like an even bigger pussy. The way people are like, "Oh my god, are you okay? What should we do? We cannot tolerate this. We're gonna put him higher up on the lineup." And it's almost like these people are stressing me out more than I would have felt on my own. That's a set of mixed feelings too, because they also made me wonder if I'm not taking shit like that seriously enough, and if I'm just deflecting so as not to stick up for myself when these things are important. And I do sort of, in this situation, I hate this, but I stand as a representative of trans people. God, I hate that. I don't want to be ever, but if I let him get away with it, see, I still don't know. I never know the answer to these questions because I have a sense of humor that tends to be very broad, and I'm a comedian, so I analyze jokes. I'm an analyst. And you know, if it makes the room laugh, that's your job, and it got to laugh. And I can scream and shout about how jokes that elicit laughter may or may not have a nugget of truth to them, and a laugh is like an acknowledgement of a certain reality. So who am I to refute that? But also, is it cowardice to be like, all right, you can do the joke, just not ahead of me? Is that selfish? I don't know. But in the end, it was a lesson in like tapping into how I feel, right? And not undermining it, belittling it, not not just disqualifying my emotions, which I so often tend to do, where I like gaslight myself. I even hate using that fucking word, but like where I'll be like, know, like, what did you do to cause it? What can you do to solve the tension, the internet? How can you respond? What can you control within your own realm and your own reality to be okay with this? And I'm very good at being okay with a lot of things. And this is one of those situations that I wonder if I'm too okay. But everyone else was kind of in an uproar about it. But undeniably, it was just a fucking poopy situation. I just didn't want to have to deal with it. And that is one of the things that was also upsetting about the whole thing, is that now I've been thrust into this whole situation, this whole kerfuffle that it's involving everyone in the club, the staff, the other comics, and this guy. And now it's a thing, and I'm not comfortable being at the center of this thing. And I feel like I caused it even though I didn't. But my response is sort of a cause. It perpetuates a cycle of cause and effect. It perpetuates a thread of so I have a lot to sort through there in terms of like guilt and responsibility, and I'm not a fucking martyr. I'm not representative of the trans community, but the more I scream and shout that, the more it feels like people endow me with it. So I don't know. So anyways, that got more or less resolved. But I guess the residual feeling after that was like, I remember thinking, I just can't. When you're transgender, you can't, you never get a break from it. It's never, you never get a little fucking vacation from being trans, and you never get a little until you pass and you're stealth and no one knows. And even then, it's there. It's always in the back of your mind. But I mean, but it's probably way easier. Different set of challenges. I won't say, I mean, it's probably easier objectively to be stealth. Let's not fucking, but different set of challenges. Transparency, disclosure. Being stealth probably has its own set of very difficult things, but that's not my point. My point is, it's when you're visibly fucking trans like me, it's just, you never catch a break. You never get a break. You're on the clock at all times. And some shit might go off. People are going to say shit. It's just like constant. And fucking trolls ask, oh, would you talk about something else? Would you? Can anybody help us out there? Can we just not fucking, anyways. So, all that to say, it's just constant. It's constant. It's always a thing. It's everywhere. And everyone's got a fucking opinion. And most of them are shit. And most of them are unempathetic and uninformed and thoughtless. I.e., doing fucking trans jokes about Bruce Jenner in front of me. And I'm sorry, and I meant to dead name Bruce Jenner because the joke was about Bruce. Anyways, you know what device I was sort of using there. Anyways, so that was show 1. Holy shit, show 1. And then show 2. God bless this insecure idiot. But on the second show, so I have this bit. If you've seen me live, chances are, if you've seen me do a longer set, chances are you've seen me close on this because it's my favorite closing joke. It's a longer bit about bike cops, and it's my crown jewel. And honestly, there's nothing in there about trans stuff. It's like it's my best joke, and it's not even anecdotal or anything. It's just a silly bit about bike cops. And there is a comedian in Toronto who has performed with me, seen me, toured with me in abundance over the past fucking decade. We've known each other a long time. We know each other as acts very well. And this guy goes up and he's been workshopping for the past, I don't know, more than half a year. He's been workshopping this bit about horse cops. And again, these are my conflicts here in my head. Is I don't want to stand in the way of people expressing themselves, and if they believe if they know it's a completely original thought and idea in a bit, then who am I to claim full ownership? However, this horse cop bit, and I called him out on it over fucking whatever, 8 months ago when I first saw it. I told him, hey, watch it with that bit, because there's a lot of parallels, and while I don't have the audacity to be like, hey, that's my concept, don't take, this is my whole realm. Every officer on quadrupeds, or any officer that doesn't roll around in a cruiser, is my domain and stay the fuck out of my territory. I don't have that kind of audacity. And you know what? The jokes and the bit, it ran parallel. Don't get me wrong. It had a lot of similarities, but it was still different enough that I was like, just watch it. Watch it. Ugh. And I didn't like seeing it, because I was like, I can't call you out on stealing. I can't call you out on stealing, but this is heavily inspired. I will say that. It's not stolen, but it is heavily, emphasis on heavily, inspired by someone whose act you've seen a million times and cannot claim ignorance. And so I gave him a gentle warning months and months and months ago. And so this guy does the horse cop bit, and lo and behold, now in the middle of it, there is a literal premise stolen. This was literal theft, no doubt about it, from my bike cop bit. And it was only a few lines, but it was a premise and a joke lifted identically from mine. And when I heard that, and it got a big belly laugh from the room, and in my head I was like, those are my fucking laughs. Those are my fucking laughs. Those laughs belong to me. He's getting away with it. Those are my fucking laughs. I could have, and I was on after him, and I was like, I could have did fucking bike cop. I could have did bike cop tonight, but I can't. And that is the hallmark. That is the indicator that what you're doing is dangerously close, because you did that bit. Now I can't do mine, because they'll be like, we heard the whole thing already. And then you literally steal a part of the bit from me. Oh, so, and keep in mind that this is the second show after all of the fucking, all the hullabaloo from the first show. I'm still like, my blood pressure is still up from the last one, for all the headache I've been put through on the first show. And oh my God, let's just have fun with the second one. And I'm over it. And then this motherfucker goes and does that. So I had to yank him by the collar as soon as he got off stage and pull him aside somewhere private and go, dude, that's my premise. And he had the gall to be like, huh? I don't remember anything in your bike cop bit about that. And I was like, I do this all the time, and you have seen it. There is no doubt in my mind that you have seen it. Don't play dumb. But I didn't say it that way. But it felt so refreshing, though, to be mad at somebody. Because I don't get mad. I never get mad at people. I internalize it, and I get really frustrated, and I get in my head, and then I go away, and I just fester in it, and I deal with it privately. But this time, I actually got to look him in the eyes and be like, don't do the joke. That's my joke. Get it out of your act. That is theft. And him be like, oh, and I'm like, I don't care. Don't do that joke. Don't do it anymore. That's mine. And, rarely do I feel like I have stood up for myself successfully. In the times that I venture to do so, in the times that I venture to speak up for myself, I still come away feeling like I have failed. And I feel like I have failed myself, and I feel like I have failed my integrity and my dignity and my honesty. I have failed on so many fronts. And I always come away feeling like excuse my language, like a big pussy, like a giant pussy. And I feel like I've let them off the hook, and they haven't learned. I haven't been clear enough to give them the opportunity to learn how they have wronged someone, i.e., me, which I think is important for their growth as well. To speak up and say, this is how you've done me dirty, so you can process it on your own time as well. And maybe become a little bit more aware of how other people perceive your behavior. You know what I mean? You know what I mean. So, so this was one of those instances that I did everything in my power to be abundantly clear on my position. And I gotta be honest, part of me doubts that he will heed my warning. And so if I see it again, I'm getting on the megaphone and I'm canceling this guy in the community. You got dangerously close. I gave you a warning. You stole from me. You pled ignorance, which again, I am a kind and just, benevolent ruler. Oh, if I was royalty, if I was a queen of the land, I would give mercy to so many people, and then my realm would get so overthrown so easily because they would be like, she is weak, and I would get usurped on day 3. And I'd be like Oprah, and you get a pardon, and you get a pardon, and you get a pardon, and you get a pardon. Everyone gets a pardon! Beating my chest like a fucking gorilla. Did my bun come out? No. PodGis. Check out my bun. Messy bun. First time I've ever successfully done like the wraparound bun. I'm proud of it. That's why I look schleppy today, but like, it's kind of on purpose. Sorry this PodGis is a little bit more serious, but I gotta tell you about everything, The ups and the downs and the ins and the outs and all such and such and this and that and etc. I think it's because the camera is on that maybe I'm still being a bit self-conscious. No, enough with the self-analysis. I'm gonna have a swig of water real quick. Glub. Anyways, Tales of JFL continued. We'll be right back after this message. Tales of JFL continued. Hi, do you like scented candles? God, that smells amazing. Uh-oh. Is Musa gonna get mad at me? Scented candle, unhealthy. I'm gonna breathe it. I don't care. It smells nice. So yeah. So those 2 things in a row, in one night, I was like, I'm done. I'm out. This fucking sucks. And all I wanted to do was go back to the hotel room and just fume. I just wanted to fume. I wanted to have a night. I was so over it. I didn't want to go out and party. There was no JFL parties because it was the week before. Anyways, so there wasn't like a big industry party that I'd heard of. Oh, no, there was. No, there was a party. But I was not in the mood. I was so not in the mood. And the show was at 10:30, so it was over and it was like 12:30 by the time I got out of the club. Tried selling t-shirts, didn't sell a single one in the entire trip because I forgot to tell people about it until that last fucking show. And then everyone just walked right by me. So, when I was at the door pathetically trying to peddle my fucking shirts. Which you can now purchase online. Quick shout out, if you go to merchmonkey.ca. Is it merchmonkey.ca? Merchmonkey.ca. And you look for Alval Comedy on the Merch Monkey website. I have two different versions of I have two different shirts, and you can get them in all kinds of colors. Oh, look at that. Wow. Maroon and heather gray. None of you can see it, not even the video people. But go to Merch Monkey and get yourself a shirt size chart. There's unisex t-shirts, there's hoodies, there's tank tops. And please, if you do that, if you order a shirt, when it arrives, take a picture and tag me in on whatever platform, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram. Please let me know. That would be lovely. Show me your support, because there are guys out there stealing my jokes, and there are guys out there equating me with fucking Caitlyn Jenner, and subtextually still calling me a man. And that is the bummer of the joke. That's the part that bums me out, is you can back off and go, hey, they're just jokes. I'm just joshing around. But essentially your thesis, your subtextual thesis there, it's barely even subtextual. It's not even subtextual. Your thesis is that trans women are men. For the joke to stand up, that is what the logic is predicated on. It's in the punchline. You're saying men are so much better at everything that they're better at being women. You're saying trans women are men. And oh boy, save it for fucking Twitter. You know what I mean? Or X, I should call it now. X, as Elon so desperately, he changed the name of Twitter and he wants everybody to call it X, and yet he won't stop misgendering and dead naming his own kid. So how's that for a heaping bowl of piping hot irony? I hope he fucking chokes on it. What a fucking insecure dork ass that guy is. Twitter is just not a fun place to be. And you know what? Okay, to top it all off, and I feel so childish saying this. I feel silly as fuck. But and then at the end of that night, I lost my cardigan. I lost my red hoodie, dark maroon cardigan, and it was perfect. When I say it was perfect, you guys have to understand. I've worn this thing. It's my favorite thing in my fucking wardrobe. Literally, I wear it everywhere, and it's my favorite, and it's cozy, but it's thin, but it's soft, and it's warm, and I keep talking about it in present tense, even though I should talk about it in past tense because I lost it. And it made me want to cry that night because I was already so worked up about all the other things. And then as soon as I found out that, and it was nowhere in the club, so I have no idea what happened to it. I don't know if I dropped it on the street or left it in a car. I am so perplexed at where it might have ended up. It didn't end up in the Uber, did it? You would have messaged me. Was that the last Uber I took? That wasn't the last Uber I took either. No messages. Yeah, see, I would have got something. Anyways, that was just the shit icing, the dog shit icing on my bear shit cake. You know? That was like being on Fear Factor and then being like, here, eat these cow testicles. And by the way, here's a little chihuahua who's gonna squirt a little Taco Bell diarrhea on top of it. So losing my cardigan was the Taco Bell diarrhea part of that night. And I am, and I'm like deliberately trying not to think about it because I am really upset about that. That's the worst part. If you want to know what my priorities are, it's like cardigan way up here, and then joke theft, and then the transphobia. That's where my priorities are. Cardigan, things I care about from most to least in that situation: cardigan, joke theft, transphobia. Distant third. That's funny. So that was my weekend. Bummed out. The next night I got to do Midnight Surprise, which Mike Carosa, a comic in Montreal, helped hook up for me. He is, that guy knows everybody and is in the community and schmoozes, and he's a sweetie pie, and he kept me company when I was fuming about the trans joke. And what made it also weird was the comic who did the trans joke he just knew the vibe. He knew. I won't say he knew, but he suspected these fucking men in their pleading ignorance. Own up. Own the fuck up to the things you say and do. So that was the other weird thing was that, like, seeing him backstage and him being like, like feeling the vibe and looking over at me, like knowing we were about to have this conversation. It's like he expected it. You can't go up on stage with a trans joke and come off stage and be like, duh, oh, I forgot Al Val is on the show. Duh, she's trans. Maybe they have something to do with each other. And this is the other thing. I'm white. So I don't know what kind of rope I get for commenting on this, but these thoughts do cross my mind, and correct me if I'm overstepping, if I'm wrong here, but it does really feel akin or parallel in some way to being like, going up and as a white person just doing a bunch of fucking black jokes. Just using stereotypes and calling them, lazy criminals or some shit ahead of a black act. And then coming off and be like, hey, they're just jokes, man. I know I called you a lazy piece of shit, good for nothing, baby mama having, I could go on. With all kinds of horrible, awful, fucking racist stereotypes. Is it equivalent? I don't know. That's what I'm asking. As a white person, what sort of right do I have to draw that equivalency? I don't know. Someone tell me. But it does feel like my white brain draws a pretty straight line between those two things, where it's like I couldn't go up and be so audacious as to flippantly take a stance on a group's identity and then walk away and be like, huh, no. But then again, they're all just jokes. And I'm sure there are black people out there who would be like, number one, it's not the same. Number two, suck it up, buttercup. And I know that's also a big thing in my heart, is just fucking suck it up. If you at a certain point, you give people the power to hurt you. And I do believe that. And that's the other thing. In situations like those, the more it became a thing, the more I was like, this feels like it's taking my power from me. The powerful thing to do would be to not give a fuck about it and to rise above. And that's what I tend to try to do. But making a deal out of those things makes me feel weak. Does that make sense? Makes me feel weak. But I need to be reminded that shit like that is important. From trans people and allies alike, you know? Still sorting it out. Anyways, the show, moving on. Monday was the concert. I did Midnight Surprise on Sunday. And then Monday was the big concert with Dan and the band. And I learned so much. It's so fucking cool being the least talented person in the room at any given time. And like in this band, everyone around me was so good at what they do. And I was just there. I was there playing my guitar. And this is the other thing. I'm not gonna take anything away from myself. I shred pretty hard. I do a decent job. I'm not terrible. I have a small bag of tricks, but they're a fun bag of tricks and they sound great to the untrained eye. And even then, fucking artists are such pieces of shit to each other. You know what I mean? I'll never forget. There is a comic who I won't also name him, but now he's kind of famous in America. And he was a drummer for the longest time, and also he played guitar. Yeah, he did. Because I'll never forget, we were on the road one time. And I think I brought my guitar. And in apropos of nothing, we weren't even talking about anything related. He just out of nowhere was like, I can play guitar better than you. And I remember just being stunned. And I can't remember what I said in response. I wish I said something cool. Like, I don't give a fuck if you are or not. Would have probably been the coolest thing to say. And now with the gift of experience and hindsight, that is exactly what I would say now. I would be like, I don't give a fuck. Because that is the easiest way to throw bullying back into its face, which is what it was. He's trying to bully me. And and especially in situations like those, is such a transparent projection of insecurity. Why would if he felt that way truly, he wouldn't have to vocalize it in such a aggressive, out of nowhere fucking way. And so I think you win in those situations by being like, oh, are you better than me? If you are, I don't give a fuck. Because that just completely undermines the power dynamic where they're trying to flex on you and you're like, I'm not playing that game. And in effect, you have outflexed them by not playing their game. And it also reads like you're not as insecure as they are, which reads like you're better. that you're so good at guitar that you wouldn't have to flex on somebody at random. Anyways, all that to say, I seriously am not as good. I know for sure that I'm not as good as the rest of these folks in this band, and they know so much and I learned so much, but it's such a gift and it was so sweet to like learn so much. And I made a lot of mistakes. Even live on the show, not a lot of mistakes, but my first solo on my first song, I couldn't really hear myself. And this is the thing, my confidence prevented me from having a proper sound check for myself, where the sound guy was at the back and he was testing all our levels and he was like, okay, second guitarist, go through your pedals and play for a bit and let me see. And I didn't, and I got all self-conscious because I was like, everybody's going to listen to me. I better shred. I better show off and sound check. And I didn't go through my pedals. I only went through a couple and I didn't do anything about my levels. And then when the show started and I was playing, I was like, oh, fuck. I can't really, when I'm on the low end, it's really bassy. And then when I go up top, I just disappear. I can't hear myself. And so I complained about it backstage halfway through the show when the rest of the band took its leave and Dan did a solo thing. We would all leave and go backstage and then come back on. And I talked to the other guitarist and I was like, I can't really hear myself when I go high. And he was like, just turn the treble up then. So I did, and boom, instantly, way better. I could now play on the high end. And then on one of the songs where I'm just supposed to make all this like indistinct noise, he came up to me while I was like thrashing and throwing my head around, and I thought he was coming to like thrash with me, but he leaned in and he was like, "Your wah pedal is on." And I said, "What?" And he said, "Your wah pedal is on." And I said, "What?" And he said, "Go over there and turn your wah pedal off." And I went over, and this is the thing in my head while I was playing, I was like, something is wrong. Every time something is wrong, the something is wrong alarm goes off in my head, but I don't have the confidence to pipe up and say something is wrong, someone help me. I don't know. Sometimes I do it. I do that a lot though. Actually also. But I got to trust my instincts because I knew that something was off, and so he confirmed it, and lo and behold, when I clicked it off, my noise fucking exploded back into effect, and I could hear everything, and it fixed everything. So god damn it, I'm still very accident prone, I'm still very mistake prone, but this is literally the second concert I've done with a full band, and these are the same guys that I did it the first time with. So like, I am so willing to cut myself some slack here, you know? Which is refreshing, because I never cut myself any slack. And here I am cutting myself some slack for that. So congratulations to me. Ding! Ding! So that concert went well. I boozed all week. I drank so much. To the point where, like, seltzers, I drink a lot of seltzers, and they were just giving me the worst acid reflux. Ugh. And I was downing Tums like crazy. So I'm on a cleanse. I'm on a cleanse this week, and it's going well. I have eaten a lot of beans. I'm cleansing. Yeah. Basically just drinking a lot of water, eating a lot of salads, exercising every day. Because I need to do a little reset here. And it feels good. I'm feeling a little bit better. My mind feels clearer. This is the new thing. Now let's move on. I'm wearing some new clothes. I'll show you my tits. Everybody on the viewership, huh? They just got jarred into consciousness. This is a cute top that I was given by a friend, fellow comic, who donates a lot of her clothes, and I like her style. She consistently sends me bangers, maybe. It sounded like I said maybe. She sends me bangers, baby! Banger clothing items. And I'm a little bit bigger in the shoulders than she is, but like, it doesn't matter. I still squeeze into some of this stuff. And this is one of the tops. It's a matching, like, what do I call it? Is it even lime green? I don't know. Coral green? I gotta learn colors. One of the earliest jokes I wrote was a misogynist joke that was like, studies show that women know on average 4,000 more words than men do. But it evens out because all those words are names for colors. That was the joke. It was like a well, I don't know. Is that misogynist even? Now that I'm a trans woman, I feel like I can make that joke without people being like, one of those inside things. See? You know what? If I told the Bruce Jenner joke, then it would have got a laugh. Which is another layer of fuckery in my head. If I had done the Bruce Jenner meme joke, first of all, I would be a hack. But let's say hypothetically I did, then I would be able to do it. I would be able to get away with it. And that is, I don't know if that is technically a hypocrisy, but in my heart of hearts, sometimes I wonder if it is. Because I get away with saying a lot of things that would be transphobic if they were said by a non-trans person. Because I'm like, it's self-deprecating. So I guess is that the distinction? Is that the line? That when it is pointed inward, I guess it's just a point where it's pointing from. Yeah, I don't know. That's another thing to sort through. The idea, the comedian brain in me that's like, you got to be able to say anything you want. Stand up is the last bastion of free speech, baby. Stand up is the only art form that's wild and free and unregulated, and do what you fucking want to do. Say what you want to say. Total honesty. The audience will fucking decide if it's worth it or not. And I think that's very rock and roll and cool, and it's great, and it warms my tummy, and it makes me feel superior about what I do, as it does with so many stand-up comedians who just masturbatorily love the idea that theirs is such a pure art form, blah, blah, blah. Okay, but anyways, there's like a tiny nugget of hypocrisy in the back of my mind that I think about sometimes, where I'm like, if I wasn't me saying all the things I'm saying, I'd be getting in big trouble. And it makes me wonder about the validity of what I'm saying is. Even though it all is. Yeah, maybe I need to get my head right about that. I don't even know. I think I'm thinking about it wrong. Anyways, I was going to show you my tits. This top is the closest thing I have to creating cleavage. And as a small-breasted trans woman with ain't got no thangs on my chest, I'm thrilled at the mere suggestion of cleavage. I have the tiniest boobs of all time. They're really not growing. My body is too lean. I don't know if I eat enough, but even when I think I'm like, I gotta eat more and I gotta probably gain weight, I just gotta gain weight and it'll go to the places. But every time I eat, I get bloated as fuck and it only goes to my tummy. And then that scares me from eating, hoping it'll go elsewhere. It's not gonna go elsewhere. It just keeps going to my stomach. It's supposed to go elsewhere. Why isn't it going? So in the end, I've resigned myself to the fact that maybe someday I'll get a boob job if they're not going to grow. Anyways, but this is a nice little slice of euphoria. I got to say this top because it smushes them a little bit together, a little bit to create a little bit of cleavage. Look, if I go, you know. See, and even then I have to push with my hands. I'm like Spider-Man on the front of that train in the Spider-Man 2 movie where he's on the front of the train and he's trying to pull it back and he's like, "Gah!" That's the fabric on this bra. It's got hands on webbing and it's just desperately trying to yank it inward. Just trying to yank it into a center point. And that's what I'm dealing with right now. Body dysmorphia, you know. I try not to go down that rabbit hole because I think I'm grateful for my body and I'm grateful for my health, and I think all things considered, I could aesthetically have it worse. I have to acknowledge that, like, I have a lot to be grateful for, and I would rather dwell on those things than the things that I lack. I think that's a healthier mindset to constantly practice, and indeed, one must practice it. Indeed. I feel like Sir Ian McKellen. And it's a healthy mindset, and one must practice it indeed. One must practice it indeed. Just reminding the rest of the cast. But yeah, I don't want to go down that rabbit hole. I'm looking down at my gut right now. I don't want to do that. I don't want to succumb to the pressures of body standards. God, see, I say that and I can only imagine what Musa would have to say in response. And not gonna lie, moments like that, I'm kind of grateful to be doing this alone. I'm sure. I did get a lot of messages about the perpetual return to topics surrounding fat people and fat shaming. I've heard you loud and clear, folks. Um. Anyways, moving on. I have cleavage, sort of. It's cleavage light, hint of cleavage. It's like those President's Choice salad dressings and sauces that are like hints of Shanghai. No, memories of Shanghai, and it's like a peanut sauce. Or no, memories of Thailand, and it's a peanut sauce. I have one. It's in my fridge right now, and it's so good. It's a peanut satay sauce. Yo, should I make a noodle with some peanut satay after this? I love noodles. I love noodles too much to starve myself and get skinny. But I gotta say, this is also a troubling thought. Is I wake up every morning and I wake up and if I had makeup on, I would look great. But without minus from the neck down, let's say, from the neck down, I look the best I've ever looked when I wake up in the morning because my tummy is empty and it's slim and it's tight. And I know that's a dangerous thought to go down. And I've recognized that before where in those moments where I catch a glimpse of myself in the mirror and I'm like, damn, I've never looked this fine. And also, I've never been this hungry in my life. That is a troubling thought, is that in order, I look my best when I have not eaten for a very long period of time. I look my best when I am factually malnourished, when my body craves nourishment. And that is not a healthy rabbit hole to go down, and I'm doing my best to fend it off and to eat when I'm hungry because that's a better life, you know? And it's a healthier one. Even though like I've made friends with hunger. I go long periods of time without being hungry, you know? But also maybe my timing of my eating is bad. I eat. Okay, anyways, you guys don't give a fuck about this. Um I think I'm close to done. Oh, this was an observation that I had on one of the shows. So Steph Tolev, Steph Tolev, Steph or Ved if you're Canadian. Get it? Because we call Z Z. So we also V is Ved in Canada. Oh, that's dumb. It's even worse that I explained the joke. I should expect you all to be higher brow. That was insulting to you for me to explain the joke, and I apologize. I thought there was something under my pillow there. So Steph Tolev gave a state of the industry. No, that's a keynote speech. I think it's a misnomer to call it a state of the industry for sure. That's not what it was. So I'm working on my voice too, you guys. Yay! I'm gonna put this fucking thing over the thing. She gave a keynote speech about. She essentially just walked us through her career, with the bottom line being, be who you are. Don't let rejection deter you from your brand of comedy and your particular form of self-expression. Be who you are, essentially. Don't let rejection stop you from being who you are. And that be so good that they can't deny you. Eventually there will be a place for you if you persevere and if you continue to work at your quality. And yeah, absolutely, 100%, I can't agree with that more. Which is also the guiding logic that I've used in all of my tapings to like incorporate a little bit of improv in every set. because I improvise a little bit every time I go up on stage, at least a little bit. I improvise a lot. And so I want to stay true to me, and I wanted to set that precedent from day one. From my very first taping, I was like, I'm gonna make sure I throw in a little bit of improv. If they don't like me for it, too bad, because they get what they hired, and they hired me for me. And if I don't start doing this now on day one, if they like me enough to bring me back again, I'm gonna do it again, and off away we go. They can't tell me to stop, because this is just, it's part of who I am. Day one, show them who you are. No compromise. A little compromise, but not too much. Is what I'm saying. So she did a good keynote speech, and in the end, she said a lot of things about how it's such a shame that Canadian talent is not more appreciated in Canada, and how, in order to make a name for ourselves, the way it typically goes is Canadians get hit a ceiling, a glass ceiling in Canada, move to the States, get amazing, and then Canada's like, oh yeah, we were cool with you all along, weren't we? Hey, come on back. Come on back. We're so fucking cool with you. And so she kind of said that as a bit of a jab to JFL, how, like, they don't really care about you until a certain point. And I mean, they've cared about me a bit, so I can't say much. But I can also speak to just what a stifling climate the entertainment industry and comedy industry is in Canada, because at least in the broader entertainment community, plural, they have like grants in place, and some government, I don't even know what to call them, programs in place to like help with the culture, and provide a little bit of support for the arts. But comedy is always categorized outside of all those things for some reason. It always seems to be the exception, and especially stand-up comedy is like this nebulous outcast in all entertainment industries, even on like a legislative level. So beyond that, there is no star system in Canada, and we're all nobodies until we go to the States and make something of ourselves, and that's just the way it is. So I thought that was interesting, especially for somebody like me who is in the long, painful, arduous process of getting my work visa together. Shit. And then I saw her perform, and she talked about her labia for 12 minutes. And it was funny. It was good. What else can I say about JM? Oh yeah, this is the last thing, and then I'll wrap it up. Thank you for indulging me. I don't even know if this is any good. I didn't do a lot of jokes, but I told you about my experience. I don't know if you got a sneak peek at my experience, And I'll say two more things. So, one of the reasons why I feel a little bit hesitant to claim this JFL experience this year is also because we did our show on the Monday, which is like the first show of the festival, and immediately, and that was it. We had to pay for our own accoms, for our own accommodation, and our own travel, which is like, for the world's biggest festival, it's kind of, but their budget is their budget. And so after our concert, which was the only thing we were getting paid for, that was it. And so I volunteered with Dan and with Chris Siddiqui, another really talented guy, to stick around and to see more of the festival and to enjoy more stuff. But there wasn't much, really. We had to go back on Thursday because and all the parties happen. There was an industry party on the Thursday, but it was kind of lame, I won't lie. All the parties happened on Friday and Saturday, and I can't deny I feel pangs of jealousy seeing my comedy friends post pictures of themselves with Eddie Izzard. With Eddie Izzard, who is like my biggest comedy hero. I wouldn't get tongue-tied around a great many celebrities, but Eddie Izzard, I would, before I had set foot on a comedy stage when I was a teen and I was struggling with these pubescent feelings of like of this cross-dressing thing, whatever it was, and being so confused by it and alone, I would throw on my iPod like full albums of Eddie Izzard, and I would mow my dad and I would mow my parents. It was usually my like tradition with myself. It was my like thing. I would load my iPod with stand-up comedy and mow my parents' lawn and happily just listen to stand-up. And that is where I first discovered Eddie talking about being an action transvestite, running and jumping, climbing up trees, putting on makeup while I'm up there. Just like such memorable shit. The Death Star Canteen. Just he was from an early age one of my most beloved. He at the time. She was always from the start one of my most, if not the most beloved stand-up comedian I have in my life. And she had a gala this year, and I almost wonder, I regret, I don't know if I'll ever get to meet her. I hope so, to tell her how important she is to me. Fuck. And that is all coming to me right now. Had I stayed one more day, two more, it may have been the Saturday party. Had I stayed a little bit longer and just said fuck it to my budget, I could have met my actual comedy idol. And I don't know if that opportunity, if I'll ever get that close again. I want to believe that I will. How old is she? Not saying she's gonna die soon or anything. Okay, she's 61. I got time. Also known as Susie. I didn't know she changed her name. Susie Izzard. But she goes by both. Okay. I adore her. I love her. Yeah, and I missed my fucking chance. So, we'll see. Gotta believe. Gotta believe that I'll be able to meet her someday. Man, and she's doing a concert here in Toronto that I can't afford. Fuck me, man. Ugh. Anyways, last point. One last thing. So, at the end of the Dirty show, Steph Tolev's show, this happens, and by the way, this happens at like every big theater show now. And I'm guilty of it. I did it last year at my taping. Comedians will take out their phones and do the selfie with the audience and do the selfie with themselves looking at the audience. It's just an interesting experience. It's one of those moments where you see the phones come out and you go, yes, we are truly addicted to our phones. Yes, there will be no phones on the day. We are truly addicted to our phones, indeed. Indeed we are. Addicted to our phones, I say. It just makes you go, And it made me go, in a way that I still need to analyze. I can try it here in front of you right now. But, like, the things people say about they look out at a concert audience, or you're at a concert and you look around and everyone's staring through their phones, or like, iconic sports moments and you see all these people staring at it through their phones and you're like, were you really present for it? And I think about that a lot. And you know, I think I told this story on the podcast when I like got my name changed and I sat down and I wanted to embrace the experience, but I just kept looking at my phone and I kept wanting to broadcast what I was feeling in that moment. And there is a deep-seated need in a lot of us to share how we're feeling and what we're experiencing. And it's maybe a bit too eager. I know that it's very particularly interesting coming from a comedian who is on stage at a theater, at a packed house with this adoring audience singing your praises, applauding you. But it's one of those moments where it makes you a little sad, a little deep inside. So I had this little fight back and forth with myself where I saw all the comedians. They brought them all out at the end. They're like, let's bring them all up, ladies and gentlemen. Ah! And everyone's going nuts. It was a great show. And then before they even like, they didn't even get to taking a bow. They didn't even bother taking a bow before the phones all came out and then being like, oh yeah, amongst each other and like, oh whoa, and then the audience. We, I think what I feel in that moment is underappreciated as an audience member, exploited for someone's kind of ego, where it's like taking a bow is this is just off the top of my head, but taking a bow feels like, at least to me sometimes, at least to me every time, it's an expression of gratitude. I am grateful for applause, and I'm grateful for that appreciation. And I think the audience is owed a little bit of gratitude, or at the very least, recognition. And I think in that moment when all the comedians go on their phones and they're like, whoa, then you don't exist. You're a prop in their own, um, you're a prop. And yet, I can understand the need to immortalize that moment. Because I would have never had that moment uh, last year at my taping had I not whipped out my phone and done. It was very clumsily done, by the way. I wish I could have that back so I could do it again. It was very choppy and janky. But also because in that moment, I also did recognize that I didn't want to be on my phone the whole time and I just wanted to do a quick thing and then like really receive it and be present for it and to be grateful, because I really, really was overwhelmed with gratitude. So I wanted it all. I wanted to show off. I wanted to immortalize the moment for myself so I could look back on it fondly and relive that memory for myself. Which is that's all valid. That's all very valid. So all of these things all happened at once. And maybe it's selfish of me as an audience member to look at people like go on their phones and be like, whoa, whoa, check it out. But you do feel sort of ignored and exploited as a prop in that moment. So now that I'm hyper aware of how that feels, and maybe I'm overly sensitive as an audience member, but because it's also probably fun in a lot of cases for comedians to be like, everybody, I've been a part of shows before where they do that, where they're like, we're gonna take a selfie, all right, everybody in, and the whole audience gets involved, and it's great. But that also includes an acknowledgement of the audience. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about this. I'm gonna have to think about this some more. There's a lot going on here. There's a lot happening there. Um, what do you think? I open the floor. What do you think? What do you think? What do y'all think? Post comments. This has been PodGis. Tell me what you think. Fuck it. Who cares? Tell me what you think of my cleavage. I don't give a fuck. You can speak at length about my cleavage. Comment on my tits. I give up. No, I hope you liked my JFL recap. I may be gone for a week or two. I have to figure out what I'm going to be doing with this podcast. I have to figure it out. This was a sort of check-in and a hi, how are you? Hi, how are you? How do you do? And I hope you feel how do you done? Because I did ya, and how are you? And I'm going to Europe next week. I'll be in, as of next Tuesday, I will be in Oslo. And Tuesday is my first show, so wish me luck. I'll be doing an hour every night of comedy in a foreign country in Oslo, Norway. And wish me luck. I think it'll be fine. I think it'll be fine. Anyways, I think it'll be fine. Say it with your chest, Val. Say it with your teeny tiny titty chest. I I think it'll be fine. Squishing my tits together. Okay, that has been PodGis. Thank you all for supporting and listening, and thank you all for surviving and not surviving. Thank you all for growing with me. Growing pains galore. We are in this together, and I appreciate your support. I would never take a selfie of you all without your consent and recognition, and if I do, just know that there is so much guilt and gratitude at the same time, okay? Because you do mean a lot to me, and I appreciate you listening and watching. I really, really, really do. And keep listening and watching and keep sharing, because it helps raise me up, and I'm tired of being broke. So maybe also buy a T-shirt from Merch Monkey. I'm out here trying to make something of myself, and I think I have something special, and you guys are the ones to keep me going. And I can't tell you how much that means to me. So, on that note, thank you for listening. Bye. I'm gonna click on